But according to this log sheet, the shelter has been in violation every single day so far this month. And they say they do not plan on turning people away now, even if it means fines. Some lawmakers were caught off guard by the remarks made by Governor Walker in California, having to search on YouTube to find the speech made at the Ronald Reagan Presidential Library. But Republicans say ideas of massive tax reform have been on the table for a long time. About 20 protesters showed up here with signs for tonight's meeting, but it only took about 5 minutes for the council to go into a closed session. People against the plant say it will churn out too much pollution, but Oneida disagrees, saying that it fully complies with all federal and state environmental standards. Hiring is up this holiday season, and that's good news, especially for Green Bay residents who are desperately looking for work. Not having a job during the holidays can be tough.
Right now I'm looking for just about anything.
Job seekers spend hours combing through job listings at the Wisconsin Job Center in Green Bay, sending applications and hoping for a response. And they aren't very picky. Peter Vandenelson only has one request.
Preferably now something inside because it's getting colder.
Seasonal work may be the answer for Peter. One local retailer, Shopco, plans to hire up to 200 employees in the Green Bay area alone over the holidays.
Have a great night. Thanks.
Our focus is on having enough help in the stores to give our customers the best possible shopping experience, from more teammates on the floor to assist customers and answer questions, speeding up the checkout process, and obviously keeping the stores open for expanded hours.
The Department of Workforce Development says hiring is up. Most retailers have finished hiring, but there are some, like Shopco and Kohl's, that are still bringing people on. Shipping jobs are still readily available. The DWD says consumers are buying more online, and companies like UPS and FedEx need help to shoulder the load. Retailers say job seekers shouldn't shrug off seasonal work.
It also frequently does turn into either a regular full or part-time position, so it's a great way to get your foot in the door.
For Peter, it's just about getting back to work, no matter how long.
I don't necessarily have to have the perfect job right away, just something to keep me busy.
Now, the Department of Workforce Development tells us that since the unemployment rate is declining, there's less competition for seasonal work, which could increase your chance of getting the job. Reporting live in the newsroom, Matt Leach, Local 5 News HD. A developer out of Milwaukee wants to build a 52-unit permanent housing complex for veterans, and city planners say that they're all for it. Cardinal Capital Management hopes to build the complex on the 2900 block of St. Anthony Drive off University Avenue. The facility would be open to vets of all ages and offer them a permanent place to live. The Center for Veterans Issues would staff and run the facility, providing any kind of service the vets would need, including support with unemployment and working with the new VA clinic scheduled for next spring. The Planning Commission approved a conditional use permit allowing housing around the wetland area next to St. Anthony Drive on Monday. Planning Director Rob Strong says the permit still needs approval from the City Council, but it's well on its way.
It's a good project, good location. We have a good developer that has a successful track record in applying for these types of funds. They've done a very successful project down in the Milwaukee area.
Developers tell us that the cost of the project could range between $10 and $11 million, and if all goes well, could start construction in the next 12 months.
So, Matt, what about the neighbors in the area, which I believe is near the VA clinic? Are they supportive of the project?
Well, Rob Strong, who you just heard from, he said that the neighborhood associations in that area are all for it and think that it would be a great addition to the area.
So the next step from here, what, it goes back to the City Council?
Well, the City Council needs to approve it, and so does the County Board of Executives or Supervisors. Next will be raising the money. The developers would like to pay for it with tax credits, which they'd have to find from the Wisconsin Housing and Development Authority. And that'll happen in February. The snow is wet and heavy, and as you can tell, it's still coming down pretty hard, but that has not stopped people from trying to get out in their driveways and try to clear up some of this snow. You could see a snowblower on almost every block with people either shoveling or snowblowing, braving the elements, trying to move the snow. But driving was another issue. Many of the main roads are clear, but in residential areas, the roads are slippery if you don't have four-wheel drive. Kids off from school took advantage, heading over to Fireman's Hill to build snowmen and break out their sleds. Most people we spoke with said they're taking the snow in stride.
Well, we went sledding, and then, well, we still are sledding, and then we just decided to make a snowman, then we're probably just going to go have some hot chocolate after this.
No, I just got started. It's actually shoveling pretty easily. It's wet, but thankfully I just got my snowblower fixed, so I'm good to go.
Now, kids are telling me that this snow is ideal for sledding because it's packed, which helps them go faster. We'll talk to more of them at 10 o'clock tonight. Reporting live in Green Bay, Matt Leach, Local 5 News HD. According to the city attorney's office, there used to be 20 offices statewide to manage complaints between tenants and landlords. Now, there are only 3 investigators. Officials hope localizing enforcement will protect good landlords and tenants and force bad ones to shape up or ship out. Trina Williams does not have a good relationship with her landlord.
It was basically raining in my kitchen.
Some things get fixed, but others, like the plumbing, are left unattended.
It leaks. The toilet leaks.
City building inspectors have told Trina's landlord that the house is not up to code, but that was news to her.
She sent me a letter like, yeah, you shouldn't even be in this place. So I'm like, oh my goodness.
Trina says she didn't know who to turn to for help, but the city plans to change that by hiring a residential housing investigator. The role includes investigating complaints like Trina's, interviewing both the tenant and the landlord, then deciding if charges need to be filed. Assistant City Attorney Jim Mueller says depleted resources across the state have made the local position a necessity.
People have been getting discouraged because when there's no enforcement action, people have stopped complaining.
NeighborWorks Green Bay is a nonprofit that owns several low-income housing units in the area. They say landlords could benefit from the added spotlight.
Any landlord, any business owner faces the prospect of being taken advantage of by their customer, and I think that this resource will be a good asset for them as well.
But not all landlords agree. One we spoke to who did not want to be interviewed on camera says, whenever he deals with the city, blame is always put on the property owner, and judgments are rarely enforced. We tried reaching out to Trina's landlord for an explanation about her situation, but were told to leave a message. As for Trina and her family, she says she's moving out.
It's just too much. It's getting too expensive. I have small children, and I just can't. It's not sanitary, for one.
Now, the position would be filled by a contracted service and cost about $30,000, but the city attorney's office says that the cost could be offset by the revenue it generates off of fines. The city council will vote on creating the position at their next meeting on December 11th. Reporting live in the studio, Matt Leach, Local 5 News HD.